In 1974, three Canadian musicians decided to make their shared love for each other and for the hard-edged, progressive music they'd grown up listening to and emulating official. They called themselves Rush. More than 50 years later, that shared love has birthed a legacy that has endured and continues to grow. Welcome to the Why Rush Matters podcast. I'm Jeff Myers, a musician, music journalist, and, since a fateful evening in January of 1980, a devout Rush fan, aficionado, and on my best days, scholar.
And I'm Ray Wozniak. Since late 1981, I've been writing my PhD on Rush. That 15-year-old Rush fan that forever lives inside of me knows that there are others out there like Jeff and I. With Why Rush Matters, music fans who have not yet been introduced to Rush might be inspired to unpack their music. Or, in the case of veteran Rush fans, Jeff and I hope you might revisit overlooked songs or albums within their catalog. With the help of guests, with our own collective experience, and even some cool memorabilia, Jeff and I hope to educate, to celebrate, and to share a few laughs along the way. Welcome to Why Rush Matters.
Why Rush Matters, part of the Pantheon media family, can be heard or viewed wherever you stream your podcasts. Hey everybody, welcome to Why Rush Matters. I'm your co-host Jeff Myers. I'm here with my friend Ray Wozniak. Welcome to episode 2. We want to reflect directly on the tour that has kicked off in the time, concurrent with our first episode. Ray was there for a few of the shows in Los Angeles to commence this Rush 50-something tour. We have a lot to talk about. We'll hear some first-person stuff from Ray. I did want to start by thanking everyone who came to our launch event here in Buffalo in June. Particularly thank Analog Kids for giving us 2 sets of incredibly passionate and well-played Rush music. All of you for coming out, and all of you who responded so passionately to episode 1 of our passion project. So thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being here, Ray.
Thank you.
What's up, buddy?
Jeff,
welcome,
thanks.
Welcome back from Los Angeles. And
indeed, I've got notes here next to me that I'm happy to go through everything. But yeah, I'll echo that. Thanks to the Analog Kids. What an incredibly diverse set list.
It was.
They play when your second song of the night is Best I
Best
Can.
I Can.
Oh, holy cow.
That one caught me off guard, and I loved it.
Yeah. So to our listeners and our viewers, holy cow! Just thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thanks for your support. This is the second episode that we are releasing, hot on the heels of the opening of the tour. We kind of want to take advantage of what's fresh in our respective minds here.
Ray, I'd love to frame all of this by saying, I don't think there's any of our listener/viewership unaware of the fact that the 50-something tour has kicked off. If you are in any way an observer of social media, you know that the launch of this tour, particularly the first 4 nights at the Kia Forum in Los Angeles, talk about trending, Ray. I mean, this exploded everywhere. And one of the most beautiful things has been, it's kind of brightened all of our timelines, social media-wise, to see this outpouring of love, happiness, gratitude, all of these things, number 1. Number 2, to see the way that the Rush community, and man, there are many of us, have embraced Anika as the drummer in the version of Rush that exists in 2026 and is taking on this immense tour. Wow. She is really widely loved and has entered into this position with the very definition of grace under pressure. And since Ray, you were there, and I am only, been staying up all night watching every single person's footage of the show so far, including the two in Mexico City that just went down. Ray was there in the house, and on opening night, you could feel the magic just watching YouTube footage. But tell me what the building was like that night.
I'll go back to your casual reference to the fact that they're trending. Similar to what was the case when the I Love You Man movie came out.
Right.
And then they were on the Colbert Report, and all of a sudden you felt that Rush was emerging to a new level of popularity that maybe they hadn't experienced yet. Similarly, here we are now in 2026, and the band is now in 2026. They are trending, and you can't get away from Rush as a part
how many times have you seen, just as an aside,
pop culture news?
How many times have you seen like comments of like, I'm not even a huge Rush fan, but I am so touched by this story and this footage? A lot.
Indeed.
And I want you to speak to that.
And,
But go
and
ahead.
I think part of that is because, so I saw the first two shows in Los Angeles. The first two of what are going to be many. Currently, I'm looking at a total of 31 shows. I'll delineate why it's going to be that many. The first two of what will be around 31 shows, and I did take away. I have many notes here that I want to share, but one of my takeaways is the fact that it really did feel like a celebration and a tribute, that you felt the celebratory mood of Rush music being played live again, but you also did feel you did feel that they were paying tribute to Neil, that they were paying tribute to the music that he helped create, that if part of their goal with this tour was to pay tribute to Neil, I think they hit the nail squarely on the head, because I felt the love for him consistent throughout each of the respective shows, but similarly, I felt the collective support for Anika. You felt that.
Both of these coexist, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I mean, I felt coming from the band, the tribute that they were giving. I felt that the fan base was there to celebrate Neil with the band, but I also felt that communal feeling with everyone, that we were all kind of giving our heart and giving our love and giving our support to Anika. We wanted her to do well. I wanted her to do well. You wanted her to do well.
Completely.
I'm sure there are some people who were there with their arms folded. She's no Neil Peart. Oh, she played that wrong.
Well, come down from the cross. We could use the wood. Give me a break.
We all know that here they are with this bank of approximately 40 songs.
Yes.
This girl, Anika, is also on record as saying before she was approached, she was no Rush fan. She didn't dislike the band, but she wasn't as aware of their discography as obviously she is now.
Yeah.
So for her to have to learn 40 songs, for her to have to learn 40 Rush songs, for her to have to learn 40 songs on which Neil Peart was the drummer, and get up on stage and do what she did, Grace Under Pressure, Jeff, you nailed it on the head. You hit the nail on the head. And again, the support I wanted her to do well. And I thought she represented herself well. I thought she represented Geddy and Alex well, for them to have chosen her and put their faith and trust in her.
It was obviously well placed.
Any skepticism that anybody had has to have been effectively dismissed by this point. Maybe you still don't think it's right that they're going out without Neil Peart, whoever is playing drums, but anybody who was skeptical, clearly that skepticism has to have been swept under the rug by now, because this girl deserves to be sitting where she's sitting, and I can't wait to see her continue to evolve. She played some parts differently, that it's only because of
Because she is a different person.
yeah, because of the trained ear that I have, the trained ear that you have, the trained ear that a lot of our listeners have, that we know, ooh, she played that differently. And that's what it was to me. She played that part differently. It's not, ooh, she played that part wrong. No, it wasn't. It was wrong. It was not wrong. She just played it differently. I was with multiple people over the course of my time in Los Angeles, and of course there were a couple people saying, "Yeah, she made a mistake in that song. She played it this way instead of that way." Like, no, it wasn't wrong. She played it differently, and I respect Geddy and Alex for giving her the leeway to be able to.
This isn't a Rush tribute band.
Correct.
This is celebrating this music, honoring someone who isn't with us.
Mm-hmm.
And she stepped into, by far, the most highly scrutinized, at least drumming role in the world. There is no question that is the highest pressure drumming gig that anyone could walk into. What hugely impresses me, well, one, she's so easy to fall in love with because of the generosity of spirit with which she has approached this, combined with her astounding abilities and her incredibly virtuosic talent level. You know, there is no as good as or no best, and at least in my world, I don't believe in any of that, you know, where everyone has their own thumbprint, right? But she approached the architecture of Neil Peart, the drummer, with obvious respect, learned it, understood that this is an overarching concept, conceptual continuity from the time Neil walks in the door, sits down, or you drop, you know, cut one on Fly By Night, the first album he's on, and you hear what's going on in Anthem. Until the end of the garden, there is conceptual continuity. Neil is obviously a masterful technician. What he really is a composer and arranger. These drum parts, and I'm sure some of our listeners have done this, and I know you have. You listen to isolated drums from a Rush tune, let's say Subdivisions. It is a composition in itself. If you listen to just the drum part, it's a composition. And that is really demanding, I think, for another musician, another drummer to walk into. The way that she's like wrapped her head around that, kind of understood a bit of where Neil was always coming from, which was always ever evolving and pushing, right? But has a continuity to it. Then found a way within that to sound like herself.
Yes.
Is absolutely astounding. And I think people are really moved by that, whether they could put that into words or even know they're feeling it. I think that's going on.
To sound like herself. Okay, the sound itself, if I can expand
please.
on that. So one thing that I was curious about heading into the tour, again, when they made this announcement, I just wanted to embrace the girl and just wish her well.
Yeah.
One thing that I was curious about was when we all, you and I, when our listeners and viewers, and we went to Rush shows, you felt Neil's weight behind the drum kit.
Big time.
You felt his power. And that's he's a big guy.
Yeah.
So I wondered, okay, are we going to be able to feel whoever it is that's ultimately sitting in that stool? Once it was announced that it was Anika, I wondered, are we going to be able to feel the same power coming from the drum kit? Well, what I took away from that bit of curiosity there, not only was I able to still feel the power, I'm not sure if this is something that you've noticed in watching the videos that you have. I'm not sure what they're doing differently. I'm going to find out and talk to the members of the crew. I'm not sure what they're doing differently, if they're miking her drums differently than what was the case with Neil, if there's more, if they're placed differently.
I can speak to that a little bit.
Go ahead, because that's one thing I noticed, especially in so many songs, particularly that drum break in By Torn the Snow Dog.
That for me was the one where I'm like, bam.
Not only was that an impressive performance, but there was something about the clarity of the drums there
Yes.
that I couldn't help but wonder, are they doing something different with miking the drums? What can you tell me about that?
First of all, she tunes her drums differently
Mm-hmm.
than Neil. She hits her drums differently than Neil, no less powerfully,
Mm-hmm.
but it's different. Her drums, her drum kit, and the way she has them set up is different, although it is clearly, I don't want to say paying homage to, well, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's, they're tuned in such a way so that she can tell Neil's melodic stories, without having to reach in 12 different directions, but consecutively, whether or not they are miking it, they have to be, this will be a question for Lauren, I guess, but they have to be miking it differently because it's an entirely different setup, different cymbals. Her snare drum tuning is different than Neil's. The way she hits is different. So right away, I mean, her thumbprint is all over this because her musical personality is distinct and fully developed before Geddy ever called her. It was already there. Go watch some Jeff Beck videos or the abundance of her own material on YouTube and her albums. It's already there. She has a sound. As Terry Brown said to Rick Beato, how did you record the bass? I put a mic in front of it. Geddy already had a sound.
Was it in that Rick Beato interview in which Anika mentioned that the drum sound she's going for on this tour is more akin to Neil's drum sound from the 70s?
Yeah.
His DW kit that he was playing for the last X number of tours gave him a different sound than what we were used to hearing.
The Tama kit is really...
Right, in the 70s and 80s. That
late 70s was a Slingerland snare, and then later, the Tama kit, which was... I'm completely biased because that's what he was playing on the Permanent Waves tour when I did my first concert, So I always love that sound, which is in the live setting is beautifully captured on Exit Stage Left. It's that era sound that her sonic approach is probably most closely aligned to. Yeah. The DWs are a beautiful sounding kit, but just as Geddy's bass sound was different when he played a Rickenbacker all the time than it was when he moved to primarily a jazz bass. Same thing with Neil, the sound evolved. But she did mention that, and I think it's evident. You can hear it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say Anika was the star of the show, because that would slight the other musicians.
There are 3 stars
stage.
in that constellation, right? So 4, because I'm not discounting Lauren.
So happy for her, and so happy to have felt that communal support for her. Now, in addition to Anika, there were so many parts of the show visually that the show was so fresh from the moment you walked into the venue until you left. There were only, I would say the show was 98% brand new.
Brand spanking new.
The only 2 percentage points that harken back to years gone by, when they performed The Garden on night 1, when they performed Headlong Flight on night 2, the same visuals that we saw in 2015 and in 2012 when they were out on tour in support of Clockwork Angels, they used those same visuals on the screen for The Garden and Headlong Flight. Otherwise,
everything else was new.
Everything was just so fresh and so brand new. The experience, I only served to benefit from everything. I mean, I felt, I was so happy to be back in that environment, as I'm sure so many of our fans were. Here I am now, having seen them now 116 times. I've got 29 more shows left. I'll be up to, what does that make it, 145 by the end of the tour. But man, I just felt that same adolescent enthusiasm, just so happy to be back in that environment to begin with, let alone being given this incredibly fresh show. The tour has got a lot of attention for a lot of different reasons. a lot of people have made note of how much money it might cost for any of these respective tickets. Well, man, they continue to give you great value for money.
Absolutely.
That these prices that we're paying contribute towards this incredible show, this visual show that we're being given. And here they are at age 72, soon to be 73, playing for 2 hours and almost 2 hours and 45 minutes
Of this.
That is great value for money.
There's no question. And I co-sign on that. And I also want to point out too that a lot of what people are pointing out as being off-putting in terms of, the ticket cost is happening via secondary sellers.
Mm-hmm.
I have a million feelings. I've written about this many times over my career. And those feelings continue to evolve and they're not going away. But you are not getting ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
In this instance, they are giving more than could be reasonably expected of them at this point. And, this isn't some nostalgia trip in any way, although the parts of it that are looking back are handled with the grace, dignity, and integrity that you expect from Rush, if you've been a fan for any number of years. I do want to ask you specifically about Bravado, which was a song I was really hoping that they would play, but it was kind of a no-brainer that they probably would.
Right.
And the Neil tribute that prefaces the performance of that song. I'm not going to lie, the first time I watched it, I was, completely crying. It was beautifully done. What did it feel like in the arena to hear, because Neil's actual speaking voice is as identifiable and unique as his drumming. What did it feel like to hear that voice booming through the arena?
It only served to heighten the emotion.
Yeah, right.
That surrounded the building right walking in. When you got to the venue, and I'm going to talk about my responsibilities outside of the
let's
venue
do that next
with the VIP business, which I'm so incredibly proud of and looking forward to talking about. But there was this feeling of togetherness and just an emotional umbrella that sat atop everybody throughout the entirety of the evening. And once we got to that first Neil tribute, it only served to heighten the emotion. But the fact that they did it with such sincerity and such love and such integrity and such grace, how they handled the tribute surprised me 0%. The fact that they handled it so well surprised me 0%. There were many surprises during the night, of which I made note of them. I want to share a few of them. But paying tribute to Neil, it's in and of itself was not a surprise. We were made aware of that in advance. But just the class with which they did it, that didn't surprise me at all. You felt the emotion of the moment, but it was a beautiful and touching, emotive celebration of everything that Neil has been to the band, to the fans, to you and I. It was a perfectly touching way to pay their respect to him. So the fact that it was as beautiful as it was did not surprise me. There were other surprises, if I may.
Please.
Now, I think you and I and our listeners would have probably guessed before the tour started. If somebody asked, "Hey, Jeff, do you think they're going to play Xanadu?" I say, yeah. Now, there were a couple of clues beforehand. I was made aware before the tour of some songs that were going to be played. I'll say that. I was aware of the fact that they were going to play Xanadu. There were a couple of clues that led us to believe that they were going to play Xanadu.
But to place it.
But to open up with that, at that
the
point.
First show.
Yes. I thought, my God, what an incredible surprise. You're not going to be able to surprise me more with opening with Xanadu. And what Xanadu on the 50-something tour, to me, kind of served the same purpose or tried to make the same statement that One Little Victory did opening up Vapor Trails.
Yeah, that's
one little victory.
Yeah.
With Neil opening up was kind of like,
it's a mission statement.
Yeah, we're back. And similarly, this was, hey, I know it's been 11 years. In case if any of you aren't familiar with who we are, this is what we do. So we're gonna raise the screen and reveal this is the Rush.
Yeah.
This is what we are.
It's majestic.
Oh my God.
But it takes such a supreme amount of fortitude. And, I thought there was, in a smiling, positive way, a little F you to it, like here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not scared. And our quote, new drummer is not scared either.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That was
awesome.
That was an incredible surprise. But by the end of the first show, I didn't vote that as my number one surprise of the night.
Oh, good.
My number one surprise of the night, when Amy Mann came out on stage,
nobody saw that coming.
Who could have predicted that? Now, I didn't know that at this point in her life, she lives in California. I didn't know that. I thought she was still Boston-based. But when she came walking out on stage, holy cow, to me, that was the biggest surprise of the night.
Yeah.
Amy Mann there for, what ultimately became all 4 shows. That was an incredible surprise. But then the third surprise, I don't want to overlook, and I want to give this person credit where credit is due here. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure a lot of the people who are...
I don't think there's any more spoiler alerts that need to be given because you can watch every song that's happened so far on YouTube.
So you know that they end the show with Working Man. So at the opening show, when they break into the opening chords there of Working Man, I said how the entire show was fresh. Well, the art, the graphics that are on the screen during Working Man were so immediately identifiable to me. From my seat, I saw that graphic art and I thought, oh my God, that's the work of David Calcano. David Calcano, as a lot of you listeners know, or you may not know, David Calcano is the brainchild behind Fan Tunes.
And also you might have seen, his video for The Spirit of Radio.
Right. And he does a lot of authorized work for the band now.
Yes, he's amazing.
So to see his work on the screen while they were playing Working Man, and the fact that he or the band wanted to also pay a small tribute to John Rutsey as well, I thought was just another representation of their class, of the class that they have always stood for and represented. Their tributes to Neil were totally classy, but to have also paid tribute to John Rutsey as well.
So cool.
I thought that was beautiful. And I just couldn't have imagined. I asked David about this at show number 2, which I'll get to in a moment. I couldn't, in that moment, I was watching this performance, watching and listening to the performance of Working Man, seeing David's work on the screen, thinking, holy cow, how must he feel right now? He's in this arena right now, seeing his work on the rear screen at a Rush show. I was applauding him for
that's
that
wonderful
honor of having his work on the screen. So at night 2, during the intermission of night 2, David and I got together for a few minutes during the intermission of night 2, and I just gave him a big hug and congratulated him on that honor.
Yeah.
So that was a real surprise to see David's work on the screen. He hadn't made me aware of that at all. To see that John Rutsey was also given a brief tribute and recognition, that was a surprise. It was a night full of emotion. It was a beautifully fresh show. There were so many surprises. Okay, surprises instrumentally. We mentioned Anika's drum kit. What about Ged playing that 64 Cardinal Red Thunderbird during 2112? He played a Thunderbird during How It Is on the R40 tour.
Yes. That was the only other time we've seen that bass.
And then Alex coming out playing that Explorer during Caravan on night 1, Witch Hunt on night 2. Tell me about that guitar.
So, you and I talked about this before we started today a little bit, but it freaked me out because, Alex Lifeson, maybe my hero, but it's always been a Gibson, either a Les Paul, a 335 or 355, or later, my favorite era of his sound, the modified Stratocasters, the Henner Sportscaster. Just amazing. And that evolved into eventually Paul Reed Smith guitars. But these are more, quote, classic shapes. I mean, an Explorer is classic shape, but, it's something you might associate more with like Cheap Trick. You know what I mean? It's like a Rick Nielsen. So it was wild to see him playing that, but I thought the sound was that beautiful. Alex was so fond of double tracking his guitar parts in the studio in ways that you wouldn't even notice. They're so perfect, but it lends, because there are tiny little imperfections, this huge thickness you really can hear in headphones or on Witch Hunt. That riff was always it's iconic because of, it's just so huge, but also subtle.
Crunch,
but controlled.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, wow, he nailed that. So, I mean, it was weird visually. Sonically, it made sense. But did I go on a tangent too much there? I mean, your question was, what did I think of that?
No, but see, that was another surprise.
Yeah.
The Neil tribute, there was nothing obligatory about it. It was sincere and heartfelt. But to see, again, I'm just kind of rattling off some of the surprises of the opening, to see Alex playing that Explorer, to see Ged playing that Red 64 Thunderbird. Anybody feel free to correct me. I'm pretty sure it was a Cardinal Red 64 Thunderbird that he was playing on 21.
It is.
Those just added to the surprises, added to the freshness of the entire show. The freshness of the entire show. That includes the screen. So when you walked into the arena, the screen had been lowered, much like a curtain would have been in years gone by, projecting R50 or Rush 50 something on the screen to cover what was behind it. And of course, then it eventually was raised to reveal the band. Well, I've developed a good relationship with Howard Ungerleider over the years. So before the second show, I just wanted to know a little bit about that.
Tell our listeners too, viewers, that he's been a Rush associate from the beginning,
from day one, and
lighting designer and man responsible,
tour manager, lighting designer.
Yeah.
So he has shared with me in years gone by the inspiration for some of the visuals that we have seen during the show. So this screen that they used incredibly effectively was brand new to me. I didn't have a lot of time at this point. I just asked him, I said, hey, tell me about this new screen that you're using. And he said, that was all my idea. And then he went on, he could talk better about it than I do. And hopefully we'll have him on at some point here to talk about the features of this particular screen, the high definition nature of the screen is evident, and they used it so incredibly effectively. There's a way that it was used in Red Barchetta that caught me off guard at first. It was lowered to kind of obstruct the band, but you could see the headlights of the vehicle with the shadows of the band behind it that ultimately served to be really effective after it was raised. I needed to get used to that after one show. But it won't take long after seeing multiple shows to know all these respective cues. I know now that, okay, they're going to take the stage at 7:45. Yeah. And if they take the stage at 7:45 on night one, they're going to take the stage at 7:45 every night thereafter.
Yeah.
As long as there's no other mishaps that might stand in the way of that.
There's some specifics that I want to ask you about your involvement with the tour. Mm-hmm. Before we get to that, I did want to point out, I want to share with you an observation of mine and get your feedback on it. Mm-hmm. Since night one and the second night of Mexico City, I really feel that they're kind of settled in. Mm-hmm. And as incredibly powerful as night one was in its entirety, and the whole 4-night run was, there was there were nerves, there were some clams, there were a few mistakes, as any mortal would expect. But I do feel that already you can feel them settling into a pocket. It's a new pocket because it's Anika's pocket. And wow. So right away, I can see this already developing. They're already getting better after 6 shows. And they started really great, right? So this is wonderful to see. I wanted to get your feedback on that. And also, I just want to say that another thing about Anika that would be remiss not to mention is that in a world right now, where these things can have been dismissed wrongfully and absurdly, this is a woman who is owning it, right? And I think she is definitely a role model for young female musicians. She should be a role model for everyone, regardless. But I think that's really, really important, and is placing it in the here and now. I think, if I had to guess, it has something to do with why Ged and Alex were drawn to her. And it's something we're celebrating.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about it. But to my point, I wanted to get your feedback. I already see them growing. Did you see it from night 1 to night 2?
Yeah. Well spoken about Anika. Well, as we sit here now recording today, they've performed 6 shows.
Yes.
The fact that they are in such great form after only 6 shows, that's testament to all the work that goes on behind the scenes.
Yes.
Before night 1. Much like an athlete doesn't show up for night 1 of the season having not trained for the previous 3 or 4 months.
Exactly.
We don't see the Sabres right now, but we know what they're doing. We know they're in the weights. We know that they're out there skating. We know that they're out there training. And the preparations for this tour began months and months and months ago.
Yes.
I was told by somebody within their organization, they said, Ray, this person said, Ray, there's a reason that Rush is as good as they are live. It's because they work so darn hard at it.
And that's always been the case.
So I'm not sure if I said this before. I'm not going to mention who or the songs, but there was somebody within the Rush camp who went to the warehouse where they were rehearsing before they took their full production out west for the full rehearsals.
Yes.
There was somebody who went to see them practice one afternoon, stood there for 2 hours. This person was in their company, in the warehouse they were rehearsing for 2 hours. And this person said that in that 2 hours, he heard them rehearsing 2 songs.
Repeatedly.
They rehearsed one song 10 times in a row. After each performance, there were comments being shared, discussion of the little nuances of the song. Hey, we need to tweak this. We need to play this differently, better, faster. And then after that, then they did another song 10 times in a row. That's one day, 2 hours devoted just to 2 songs. So it didn't surprise me. Yeah, there's mistakes on night 1, but there's going to be mistakes on night 20. There's going to be mistakes on night 40. That's the beauty of live performance.
Yes.
So it didn't surprise me that they were as sharp as they were on night 1. Night 2, I was more just taken with the set list on night 2.
Which is something else.
I'm not belittling the set list on night 1 at all, but that set list on night 2 just completely did it for me. Come on, side 1 of 2112 in its entirety. Anthem, Leave That Thing Alone, The Analog Kid, Finding My that. So it
was ridiculous.
So the fact that here they are, as you're saying, after only 6 shows, seemingly almost in mid-tour shape, that doesn't surprise me, because to me it hasn't been 6 shows that they played. This is the result of all the months and months and months and months that led up to that.
But there's nothing like, as much as,
That's what hard work gets you.
Yeah. It's what hard work gets you.
That's what hard work gets you.
Exactly. And that's part of the lesson. That's always been part of the lesson of this band to me.
Okay. Now, another one that we've overlooked is Geddy's voice.
That was my next point for sure.
So sharp. I'm saying positively sharp.
Yeah.
And the enunciation
way stronger,
was noticeable. And it wasn't until after the show, back in my hotel room, that I pulled my tour book out and sat and read everything line by line, every credit in there. Did I notice that he, not only Geddy, but Alex as well, they have a vocal coach on this tour. And that was, I know that that's different, that they have not had a vocal coach.
And he's been working, Geddy in particular, has been working with a vocal coach. It was well before the tour started.
It was evident. It was evident at the shows that I've seen thus far. Some people have said, yeah, he sounds great. Let's see how he sounds after 50 shows. Well, I don't know. Probably going to sound like any other singer who has to sing 50 shows.
Of course.
So Robin Zander on the first show and Robin Zander on the 50th show of a cheap.
Of course. That's a great analog, because there's a guy, who was. What struck me is Geddy has found a new way to approach this material that is more reflective of the age of his physical vessel. I mean, this is incredibly intelligent. He was finding ways to deal with it over the past couple tours that I think were, as a listener, not as quite as on point as he so clearly is now. Like he has found a new approach to it. He has changed some melodies to reflect his physical abilities, and then there are definitely high notes that he is still nailing, but mostly he sounds comfortable. It's beautifully enunciated. It's very in tune. It's passionate. He just is owning it so much. And there's not that sort of way of sliding into the note, or the sort of what some people have called yodeling effect that he was doing for understandable reasons. That's gone. He's never sounded better. I mean, it sounds incredible.
Is it confidence? I mean, I wonder.
It's the work.
Ged's never lacked in confidence.
No.
But I wonder if he had a newfound confidence to say, yeah, we'll add the title track to A Farewell to Kings to this set. Yeah, we'll play Anthem in its entirety. Yeah, we'll play some songs that maybe we hadn't played in a while because I feel with the coaching that I'm being given,
I'm ready.
I can play these. And I love that idea. I love that idea of having a coach.
Yeah.
I had a coach in education for the last 10 years. And some people, kind of scoffed at the idea of having a coach. And I would always sell to those colleagues, and I would sell now and think, well, think about in the Olympics. What would you see? You'd see Michael Phelps getting out of the pool, having just won gold. He'd get out of the pool, and I would notice that he'd be talking with somebody. And it wasn't until after the event, after the heat, that I realized, he's talking to his coach. Like, why does the best swimmer in the world need a coach? Well, because there's always something you can do to make your work even better.
And that's a very Rush thing.
So here's Geddy in 2026 saying, okay, one thing I could do to make the show even better, we can employ a vocal coach. And man, that investment is paying dividends.
It was immediately apparent, wasn't it?
Immediately
apparent. And isn't that a Neil thing too, kind of? All this ties together. What is the most excellent thing I can do today? Is Neil, right?
Oh, that's a great parallel.
And to me, that really applies to this, because Ged has said, well, we wanted to give the fans what they deserve. He's like, but what I'm also thinking is I need to be better than I was 10 years ago at everything I do. You got to let that sink in. This is a person who could be taking a victory lap or sitting home counting his money.
Referencing you referenced Neil there.
Yeah.
There was Neil getting a drum teacher.
Always. This is the Freddie Gruber thing, completely changing and trying to evolve and grow.
And Alex's current quote, it's posted on one of the panels in the lounge that we'll get to there, is, we want to be our absolute best right now. And little decisions like that, going to get myself we're going to get a vocal coach. And again, it's for Geddy and Alex. They're credited in the tour book as he's the vocal coach for the both of them.
Yes.
I can't wait to get back out there on tour. I can't wait to get back out there.
Yeah, well, let's
and
talk
see the
about
show.
that. I think you have a role within the tour, and I think our listeners would really enjoy hearing about that because it's just super cool, dude.
Yeah. It's just an absolute thrill and an honor. As I think I've said before, that the 16-year-old Rush fan that forever lives inside of me just thinks it's frigging cool.
That's the Neil reference too.
Okay, before I get to the VIP lounge, even something as simple as in the new tour book here, this is the tour book from Los Angeles. There's a crossword puzzle. Can I get this done to you? So
Please.
There's a crossword puzzle here in the new tour book that
This is Ray's work, everybody.
that I authored. I authored that. I authored this tour book, and it's on display in the lounge. It was myself and Hugh Syme and Mark Irwin who helped put that together. A big tip of the cat to Mark Irwin for helping to put that all together. I authored all the questions, but when it came to the layout of all that, that's not in my wheelhouse.
This is why we collaborate, right?
Exactly.
Everyone brings their strength.
Yeah, so Hugh Simon, myself, and Mark Irwin helped put that together. I'm super proud to have that in there.
It's awesome, Ray.
But thank you. I'm proud of the role that I'm playing in the VIP lounge. So one thing that's new on this tour is there is this Xanadu VIP lounge that if you buy the Close to the Heart package, the Close to the Heart travel package, or the Superconductor travel package, one of these respective packages includes admission into this VIP lounge that I curated most of what's in that lounge, and I'm serving as the host and the docent in that lounge for
So cool.
for any show that I go to. It'll be around 31 shows right now. I'll be the host and docent in that lounge, get to meet and greet all these fans,
Members of our extended community.
Yes, who are coming from all corners of the world, all corners of the country, all corners of the world. It was so great to be in that lounge and meet Scott and Janet, who I met from Seattle, Melissa Durham from California, who I had met at the Rush Day events.
Yeah.
So great to reconnect with Melissa, to meet Scott and his wife, Janet, and so many other people in this setting. So within the lounge, there are 7 different panels in there that I authored all of the text that you see on those panels. There's a listening station at 6 of the 7 panels that I chose the audio clip that when you press this button and listen, I chose each of those respective clips. If I may, for all of you listeners, got to make sure especially that you press the button and listen. At panel number 1, there is a 2-minute interview. It's an excerpt from a longer interview. There was a 50-minute interview that I had with Geddy and John Rutsey from March of 74. I took a 2-minute clip of that and used this 2-minute clip in with the panel that's assigned to era number 1. So those of you who are going to be in the VIP lounge, make sure you press that one. I'm particularly proud of that.
Super cool.
Do you know what else is in the lounge? The television that appears on the cover of the Power Windows album. One of those exact televisions is in the lounge. That's one of only 3 such televisions that still exist. The gentleman who was responsible for building a lot of what you see in the lounge, he was thrilled when he wrote to me one afternoon, Ray, guess what? Got one of those televisions.
That is really, really
So anybody
cool.
who's visiting the lounge, make sure you stop and appreciate the television that's there.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
That's really cool. And
Yeah, it's incredibly cool.
But since this is the Xanadu Lounge, are attendees invited to dine on honeydew and drink the milk of paradise? And are they aware
of
where this could lead? The Kubla Khan, etc.
There's a lot of good food on site. I can't remember if there was honeydew present. But if not,
Ice cold milk of
when I'm
paradise.
back for the next run of shows, I'll make that suggestion. There's posters in there. There are museum cases.
So cool.
The crossword puzzle. The crossword puzzle that I authored is on display in the lounge. And I'm using the crossword puzzle in the lounge for some on-the-spot trivia. So I did it at each of the first 2 shows, and at all the other shows that I'm going to be, any show that I go to, I'm going to be in the VIP lounge beforehand.
Amazing.
And I'm using that crossword puzzle for some on-the-spot trivia. We have prizes to hand out in there. There's so many other great features in that lounge. I'm just so incredibly proud to be, as a Rush fan, to have helped curate it, to be serving as the host and the docent in there, but just to be surrounded with these people from Superfan. Man, they do an incredible job of making this whole experience run smoothly and maximize the enjoyment for these fans. Are so thrilled to be coming in there. I'm thrilled to be in there sharing the enthusiasm with them. It's a great experience. Just another added part to what makes the tour feel so incredibly fresh.
That's awesome.
Like I said before.
Well, I'm super proud of you and happy for you. And
thank you.
I just think it's amazing.
And that Cliff Bernstein, by the way, so many members of the team,
part of the Rush story,
came in over the course of, Cliff came in, Meg, their publicist, came in, a couple of their drivers came in, the photographers came in and really appreciated the celebratory mood that the lounge is meant to represent, that Superfan just hit a home run with.
That's awesome.
With this lounge.
And they chose wisely to have you involved in it, and I'm really happy about it.
Thank you.
You and I, we went to multiple shows on every tour, always, right?
Indeed.
There wasn't the reason for us doing that was, obviously the reason that we're sitting here now talking about our band that we still feel exactly the same way about, or actually a more evolved level of passion about. But we were seeing the same show a lot. They differed because it was always different. It might be one song that changed.
Correct.
For people who are for people who are lucky enough to be able to consider seeing multiple shows on this tour, let's talk about why this is different this time. And I mean, it's gotten around. The set list will change. I'm not sure if everyone realized to what extent. If you go to multiple nights in a city, let's say, you're not going to see the same show. And that doesn't mean one song's flipped out. It seems to me that there are several versions of the show. All of them seem to be pretty close to equally powerful, and equally intelligently curated. But that's new for us in our decades and decades of this kind of fandom, and that's really a thrill.
Yeah, just adds to the freshness. It's more aligned with what Springsteen has been doing for all these years. Where you go see Springsteen as his fan base does, seeing him multiple times
was always worth it.
Many multiple times on a tour, you'd see different shows. But with those Bruce Springsteen shows, you would still feel the consistency of a particular theme in that tour show.
No question.
Similarly, you still feel the consistency of the theme here, that we are paying tribute to Neil, and this is a celebration of Rush's music. And the sets vary from night to night. They vary greatly. That it's not just a substitution of one song for another. It's totally
It's different architecture for each.
Yeah.
How cool is that? It's awesome.
I wondered about that in years gone by when people would talk to me about, man, you should see Springsteen. He plays a different show every night. I would wear it as a badge of honor. Say, no, I go to a Rush show. I know exactly what I'm getting, and that's what I
don't regret any of it. I would have gone to more if I could.
Yeah, and I loved it. But now that we're experiencing, almost the opposite, I appreciate this just as much as I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And then, the last thing I'd like to talk about as we, as we start to wrap up episode about, yay, tour underway, people.
Yes.
Here we go. Is, it's an elephant in the room that needs discussion, and I can use myself as a great example. There are loyal, devout Rush heads who simply can't afford to go to some of these shows, or at least can maybe afford to go to one. And again, I'm not blaming the band for any of this. It's sort of the nature of what the concert going experience is in 2026. I think it's unfortunate, but I also understand that a production on this level is a big ticket item, as it should be. But there's a reality here that I think some of our listeners probably are experiencing right now, is that I'm going to miss a lot of this, or I might miss it all. And that kind of sucks, but I haven't seen the show in person yet. You have. What's your feedback? What would your response be if I say to you, I feel priced out of my favorite band?
Well, I'll go back. I think I mentioned earlier about value for money.
Yeah.
If you go to McDonald's and you don't like your meal, well, I don't know, you can't complain. You get what
You went to McDonald's.
you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You're not going to go to Russell's, a great steakhouse here in town. You're going to go to Russell's and you're going to have an incredible experience because you're paying for it. That's what you pay for.
Yeah.
Okay. You and I
that's
talked.
fair.
You and I talked on one of the episodes of your excellent Why Music Matters podcast about the R50 box set.
Yes.
When the R50 box set came out, a lot of people were complaining about the price of that. But my argument to that was, well, you're getting great value for money. You got your value for money. Similarly, now with this tour, the prices being what they are, I think the band is giving you your value for money.
Yeah. I think that's a great answer.
Like I said, they're playing 2 hours and 45 minutes with this beautiful high definition screen, with this incredibly fresh show, playing songs that they haven't played in years. I left feeling like I had been given more than enough value for my money.
I've felt that every time I've seen them.
Yeah. Jeff, here's to Rush being back on tour. It's so great. It's
Man,
so
here's
great
to
to
it,
be
Ray.
back. And I was so happy just to be back in that community.
The world feels brighter.
Yeah. I can't wait to get back out there. I'm just so happy that they're back, that young people who maybe hadn't had a chance to see them years ago now have that opportunity to go with their dad, to go with their mom, to go with their older brother or sister and experience Rush for the first time in 2026. And you're being given every much the Rush experience in 2026 that we experienced years ago.
When we were kids.
Yeah,
and
so great to be
and at
back.
every stage along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What an absolutely wonderful thing. Here's to
This is great.
Rush at 50 something.
Yeah.
I am going to find a way to get, right now I'm only scheduled to go to Cleveland. That will not stand.
I'll see you there. I'll see you there.
So I will be offering some first person thoughts too in the coming episodes, but I'm so happy to have yours. Again, congratulations on being part of the tour, representing the Buffalo Rush fandom around the country.
I'd be happy to talk why Rush matters. If any of our viewers happen to be present at any of the shows that are in the VIP lounge and approach me under the auspices of our beloved podcast, that'd be great.
Yes.
Just to share in the brotherhood and the communion of our love for the band is what that lounge offers people. Just another chance to share in the communion of our love for them,
which I just think is really cool. And we'll be back with you with a lot more thoughts as the tour goes on, and some special guests, more fun Jeff and Ray nerddom.
Let's give a shout out to Joe and Harry here at the studio.
Yeah, to our team here at 678.
Jeff, thank you.
Thank you, Ray. And wow, what a time to be a Rush fan.
Let's end on that.
Cheers, everybody. We'll see you next time.